Well, what's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. I appreciate you guys for joining each and every time you guys do decide to join me. But I got another one for you today. Yep, I got the Road King out. Yeah, man, this is the road bike. You guys know what a road bike is, right? This is the one I'm gonna be putting the miles on. The Road Glide is not the road bike anymore. The Road King is. I told you guys before, I really enjoy riding this bike. I like the way it rides just a little bit better than your Street Glide and your Road Glide on the highway. Just feels like it cuts through the wind. So I've designated this bike to be my road bike. I have a few upgrades that I'll go over on another video that really solidified this bike as a road bike. I'll get there. But there's a system called the TCLOC. A lot of the guys use that system, and I've also used that system to kind of give me some kind of guideline on what I need to be looking for on a bike like this, on a Harley, to make sure if I'm going to take a trip, because I'm taking a couple trips sometime soon. I got Biketoberfest and Daytona coming up right now, but there's things I need to go over to kind of like make sure the bike is 100% correct. Now, I already do it, but you go and use the TCLOC system just to double check and make sure, so you'll have a real guideline to use so you don't skip over something. Now, there's a few things I will be adding to that TCLOC system because this is a performance bagger. Guys, you know, I made this bike into a performance bagger a little bit ago, and there's a lot of different things. There's more rumble in a bike like this, so a lot of things may start to get loose on you. You know what I mean? So you need to go over other specific things on a bike like this, especially like if you have chain drive, if you have a bigger wheel in the front, just different things like that. You might have to check that a factory Harley might not need to be looked at. If I have a ride coming up, the first thing I need to do is make sure my bike starts. Sometimes they'll sit in the garage for a week or 2 weeks, and it might not be on a charger at all. And then it comes down to the day before or so that I need to go take this ride in the morning, and then the bike doesn't start. So I'm gonna just start the bike real quick for you guys. I'm in the garage. I got the garage open, it's vented, you know, but I'm gonna start the bike up. I like to have the oil warm when I check the oil. That's just my method, to each his own. After I figure out, you know, everything that where the bike needs to just be running, I'll put the bike up on a lift, and then we'll go from there. So let's start the bike up. Let's see how she sounds. We're looking for smoothness, and we're looking to see if anything sounds out of whack, if something's rubbing, metals kind of like sounds like loose. That's what we're going to be listening for after that. So let's start this bike up. I mean, the bike sounds 100% solid, guys. I'm listening for anything that can sound loose before I start physically putting my hands on it. Now I'm gonna put the bike up on a lift, and we'll go from there. All right, guys, so I might be just off camera a little bit, but the first thing you really want to check is your tires. Always mess up a ride if you got a bubble in the tire, nail in the tire, just worn out tread because you haven't been riding your bike that often, but get it up on a stand. Also, you're looking at rotors and bearings, and when you spin the wheel, you'll know if you hear something, its bearings gone, and you will be able to visually see if the rotor looks that bad. You got an issue here. Spin it again, tap the brake, barely touched it, and you know it locks up. Go to the back, do the same thing, but I'm gonna roll this wheel, and I can feel it rolling perfectly. Leaves me with no issues. So that's the first thing you want to check. All right, guys, so the next thing you want to check is controls. All right, so basically anything mechanical, brake lights, turn signals, high beams, low beams, things like that, hazard lights, check that stuff. So let's turn the motorcycle on. We got the left blinker, We got the right blinker. You should be able to see those. We got hazards if we need them. God forbid we do. And just for me, this is performance, guys. Your power vision. Make sure your power vision is up and running. Anything you wanted to tell you, make sure you have it set for the things you wanted to tell you. Look at your dashboard. Make sure the dashboard lights up. Make sure all the lights are on. And last but not least, make sure those high beams are working. We've already started the bike, so we know it's running smooth. We know we don't need no spark plugs. We don't need anything else that could give us an issue on the road. But on top of the controls, you want to squeeze your clutch. Make sure that thing's smooth. Squeeze that brake. Make sure it's smooth as well. Anything that you have mounted, my light, my phone mount, all those things, I want to make sure they're 100%, guys. But that's it basically when it comes to controls, and we'll get into more things after this. The next thing would be the bolts. Go around where you know there could be a possible bolt that comes loose, especially from having a lot of vibration. Check those bolts. Shift linkage, check shift linkage. The shifter, check the bolts on the shifter. Make sure everything's tight. If you didn't Loctite it before, make sure you try to get some Loctite on it. Especially, guys, if you're going on a ride and you lose something like that, you're gonna have a problem. Open your saddlebags up, okay? When you open your saddlebags, see if you guys can see it, might be off camera, but check and make sure the saddlebags screws are tight. People lose saddlebags on the highway all the time, more than people know. And especially a lot of the new guys that don't understand that, yeah, these bikes are gonna be vibrating, they're gonna be humming, and especially on the highway, there's a lot of pressure. Wind hitting this bike, anything can get loose. Your seat, make sure your seat is highway ready. I think that's the term I wanna use. Make sure if you're running a back pillion, make sure that bolt is good back there. Little things you don't want to come apart. Check all the bolts that are on. Guys, let me show you real quick. So on your exhaust, you have clamps, okay? So that hold your heat shield to the actual exhaust. Go through and tighten them. Even if you don't believe they have any issues, give them a little turn anyway, because you don't want to lose one of those either, or you start to hear a sound and it's actually one of those clamps coming loose. Guys, another good thing to check is the handlebars. First of all, you want to give these handlebars a nice good tug and a good push. Make sure the bushings are good. If you get any flex or any movement, if you feel it, that's not a bike I would go out and ride and really try to take a few hours or go out of town with, because you just never know what could possibly happen. You get on the brakes too hard and have to put some force down on the front of the bike and those bars move, it could be a very, very bad day for everybody. But since we're talking about the handlebars at the same time, your throttle, give it a couple of whacks. Make sure it's not sticking, because the same thing can apply. We're on the highway, we have to give it gas, and we get off the gas and that thing is stuck there. Another bad day. This is one of those things. A lot of guys put aftermarket grips on, and if you put them on at your house by yourself and you're just trying to figure it out, and at the wrong time you have an issue, and you have nobody to blame but yourself, that's what makes it, it's just something that I would most definitely go over with this bike. All right, guys, so another piece to the puzzle, your helmet. Charge your cardos, your whatever you have, your comm system, charge it up the night before. You don't want one of these to go down when you kind of, you're listening to music or you're actually making phone calls or something like that. So for your enjoyment as well, make sure it's charged and ready to rock and roll. Look at your helmet. Make sure there's nothing going on with your helmet. Make sure everything works on your helmet. All the mechanisms lock, everything like that. Turn it on. Make sure it's working good, because everybody else is talking on the comm system and now you're missing out. Just another one of those things. But when it comes to safety and eye protection and things like that, yeah, just make sure your helmet's in perfect running condition. I always wipe mine down just so I can visually inspect it and go over it before I do take a ride. I wear a full face helmet, especially when I'm on the highway, because rocks and pebbles and bugs are flying everywhere, and it can always be a bad day for me if I catch a rock or something to the face. So check your helmet, get a good helmet, make sure it's approved, Snell approved, DOT approved, all these types of different approvals. Well, guys, that's how I check my bike before I go and take myself a ride, especially if I'm going some distance. Like I said, I'm going to be taking a 7-hour ride this weekend. It should be a burn and turn, so the bike's really not going to get a break. and I want to see and test every inch of this bike and make sure it doesn't fail. But I've already gone through the bike. I think the bike's pretty solid as we speak. So I'm gonna get out there and I'm gonna have me some fun. And I won't take it easy on my bike. That's just me. I'll probably be running good numbers the whole way there and the whole way back. So guys, if you got any questions, comments, drop it down in the comment section. If you have a comment that you don't want to comment on YouTube, go over to the Real Official Mac and you can message me over there. I answer a lot of guys' comments. Don't forget, guys, I do my lives on Sunday. So if you got something to say it on Sunday. All right? Bucket Talk Sundays, man. Guys, I appreciate you. Peace.